What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We got 20 days till the race actually starts, so we've got less than that. I'll show you guys some progress. I'll bring you along on the stuff that we're kind of working on. Showed you with the mini hand real quick what we got going, but we can walk and talk. So we got the lines bent up. They go down underneath. We got them captured here, and then I'm gonna run them flush like that. I need to cut this off better. I was getting a little scared with my cutoff wheel because I've got wiring and I've got all this in here, so that was as much as I could get, but we'll get basically like up to that line there to give this clearance. And then we've got clearance from the hot side, not as much as I'd like, but this is the direction we chose to go. You know, we should be decent. I got some little gold wrap stuff, so we'll keep this away from the heat, hopefully. And then we've got it here. And then my plan is, see how I had like a soft line there? We can put these, it's harder to kind of get into the transmission. They should fit on there, but I could do like a fitting, like a 90 or a banjo, attach lines like this to the transmission before I put it in, and then when I drop it in, I can just plug it on and off here. So if I want to drop the transmission, to take the lines off, you just crack it here. Life is good. You don't have to crawl under and fight with the stupid wrench and all that. You can loosen it here, tuck these over there however you want, and then when you pull the transmission out, you just leave those attached. So you could go underneath and take these on and off, but like as you can see, it's a lot harder to get in there than it would be just to crack lines loose here. So that's the plan with that. We also did that because it just makes it easier. Like I said, when I go to put the other transmission in, depending on where the fittings end up, we can just make, or I'll have G&J make some lines for that, and then hopefully we can just run like banjo fittings on the transmission. So we got that done. We've got the ends of this guy. I think I showed you. I put it back in here, but we got that nice bead on there with a little bead roller guy from Amazon. Worked great, other than the screw already stripped out for the wheel, and it's aluminum. So I just took my punch and just punched the end of it. So it seems to stay on now. Just put those little divots on it. In worst case, this is steel, so we'll just make a booger that overlaps and we'll hold that on. So that's it. Works like a charm. What do you want for 50 bucks, right? So we got that done. We are going to move on. I got to figure out what we're working on next. I got to consult my list of stuff. So let me take a look at that, and then we'll bring you guys back when we're on the next piece of the puzzle on the Maliboom. All right, we consulted the list, and the two things we have today that we can do are going to be the exhaust, which I don't have on here, but we need an O2 bung. So we'll put the exhaust in real quick, and then I'll decide where to put the O2 bung. If I put it like over here, we can bring the wire back in and then down, depending, because they usually have a pretty long wire, so I don't have like stuff dangling across. Or maybe we put it, it just depends on where it ends up, where the wire goes. So we'll have to put that in place, and we'll do that. And then the other thing that somebody mentioned, which got me to look at this, and then now I was like, now I just don't like it, is this guy, because I was worried about my drain hanging down, and he was like, your pump hangs lower than that, why would you care? Well, this is pretty fragile, and this thing is basically silicone in place. So if you wrenched on this or you hit it, it would probably leak, and you know, that'd be a big ordeal. So I wanted to keep that up and out of the way. I don't mind the placement of this, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's basically, you know, the shock's in the way. Like if you had road debris or something, it would have a decent chance of living. It's not in the way of the tire, but when I looked at it, the way I made the bracket and the way this hose clamps down, it has a big kink in it, which means it's forcing the hose to do that. So that means it's putting pressure on the fitting and putting pressure here. So I just don't know if that would survive like that for like thousands of miles. So I got a 90-degree silicone guy. Oh, the other thing too is it puts this fitting basically up against the frame. So I got a 90 silicone boot, so we're gonna undo it from here. We'll put the 90 boot on, which should kind of flatten that out. And then this part's already made, so I should just be able to cut this, I believe, and then just make another flat part, and then we'll just glue them together. And I think that that will be the plan. But I'm gonna put a 90 on here and see what that looks like before we start getting froggy with anything. But since I already made this part, that's what took all the time to do. So this is done. We'll just cut it so I can glue it to a new piece that'll bolt to the frame, I think. But let's undo this, put the 90 on it. It should flatten out, which may tuck it up a little bit better, but it should get that off of the frame. But we can't change the distance. This is already all done. So yeah, kind of doing it twice, but I feel like if we take the pressure off of it and it just dumps and is routed properly, it's gonna help it survive longer. Who knows? That hose is a radiator hose that could last forever in a day, but we're here, and I figure I got that to do, an O2 bung. Then we gotta start pulling stuff apart because we gotta put the motor together and start getting ready. So I'm just gonna address it because we're here. I know we're running out of time, but I'd hate to have that thing let go in the middle of nowhere and struggle with some kinked weird hose deal. Okay, well, we're stuck with the donkey hose because this necks down from a larger size to a smaller size. So plan B is we will leave this in place, and then I will just see where the mounting holes are way low right here. I'll mount it, I guess, higher. See how much higher I can bring it. So when we're down here, it kinks it more. So if I just push it up, and then half the kink is built in because of the hose size change. So now I don't feel bad about it. I feel like that'll be okay. I just thought it was really tweaking this thing bad. So we will leave it because the hose I got is to the size of the inlet, and then that's a smaller size. So don't let me down, little hose. Don't fail, please. Pouring the front down a little bit to get it off of that so we could tighten that if it was leaking for whatever reason. And then raise the back up, and then that helped the kink a bunch. So much better about that, a lot more pressure taken off of that, so I feel good about it. All right, we got the big old Donkey Mamma Jamma. Haven't seen him in a minute, sitting on here. It's funny because somebody was like, oh, that thing sticks out too far, but maybe we could trim it down a little bit. I don't think it's completely terrible. It is what it is, but anyway. Yeah, maybe we'll take a little more off. We'll do like a 1/2 inch. And then I got to open this up a little bit. But that's besides the point. We need to stick an O2 sensor on here. So the other thing too is I got wires that run up and over this guy. So I've got that gold heat shield stuff over here. We can use this guy, I think, on the wires, and then I've got the tape too. But that one's Velcro, so it's nice. You can take it on and off if you had to do some wiring. And then I think we'll probably put some wrap around the good old pipe here. Maybe we'll wrap up and around here. But anyway, the O2 bung, you want a couple feet of pipe because you don't want it to see fresh air. So I'm thinking we'll stick it, probably run it maybe here, and then run the wires over and that way. That might be a good, or I mean, we could always run the wires back up and around. So we'll just have to see how long they are. But let me pick a spot, and then you don't want it vertical. You want it off kilter a little bit, and then you never want it on the bottom because of moisture. So pick a spot, we'll mark it, and then we'll take this off and we'll go sit on the bench and weld her up. This was a spot that I chose to stick it on there. The weld turned out pretty good, and I just made a little quick Instagram post. It made me laugh because we're getting better at this, and then it makes the old stuff always look like trash, and that's why we call it beads and boogers, because it seems like on every single project I do, the welds that are easy, I can kind of get the hang of it, and the welds that are not so easy, we just kind of Ray Charles the thing and pray and just hope it sticks together, right? So we're learning. I'm excited about that one. Again, it was an easier weld, but it's fun to see the progression of something where it looks like you're getting the hang of it, but you also can see where you came from, right? This is the best I could do at the time, and actually this was better than the stuff I was laying over here. So I was pretty excited about this. And then you throw a new weld right next to it a few weeks later, and it makes that one look terrible. So very cool. So if you were learning, just keep going. You're gonna get better. And then the fun part too is, like, you're gonna weld a project up, and then you're gonna look back and go, oh, that thing's trash. Like, I already think my entire hot side is god awful ugly, but it stuck together, and it was the first project I did, and I'm proud of it. And had I not done that, or been like, oh, this sucks, I don't want to do it anymore, and just like not put it on the car, did whatever, I wouldn't be as far along in doing this. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, make some boogers, waste some gas and some rod, or redo things, because I seem to do that quite often these days with this kind of stuff. So that is all welded up. I'll fit it on there real quick. You can see the placement. We'll screw the O2 sensor in just to show you what I was thinking. And I basically kind of put a dead nuts in the center, and depending on the length of wire I have from the ECU is going to be the routing direction for the actual plug itself. So it can go either way. I'd like it to go under the fender if possible. If it doesn't fit, I don't care. We'll go the opposite direction and it's race car problems. So here is a look, and like I said, I centered it. I didn't offset it either way, so we could either go up and under the fender and back with the other wires that go to this, or because this will go all the way to the corner up here. And then Holley is pretty generous with their O2 lead, and I usually just coil these up in a fashion, but I don't know if we cut the other side down. So if that doesn't fly, then this gets me a lot further, I believe, going that direction, right? So we just do one of those deals, and I know that that would reach, right? So it looks a little more donkey, but again, like I said, it's race car problems. If that's how we got to roll, we will. If I can make it clean and plug it in that way, we will do that. But the exciting news about that is that brings us to a crossroads. We got, like I said, 20 days. Every time I say it, I have a little palpitation. But for the most part, this thing is a race car, right? So everything you see on here is loose, is only hand tight. It's not final assembly, all of it. So what we need to do now is we'll take all this apart. I'm gonna cut the video here because you guys don't need to watch me disassemble that. I think maybe we can bring it back when I'm putting the motor together, possibly. But we need to disassemble this, bag and tag stuff, keep track of it. So I just don't want to rip it apart like a madman. I gotta find like places to put stuff, because when we're putting it back together, I'll need all the hardware. I need to pay attention. That's when we have to clock everything, make sure the fittings are all tight, make sure everything has lock nuts, has everything on it. The fire ring is in place, the blow off valve, gaskets, all that stuff. So next time it looks like this, it's going to have a motor, transmission in it, and we're going to be on the road to trying to fire the thing up. So I'm going to leave, like, I have a throttle cable that I need to do, so I'll just order like a long one from Amazon, throw that on the shelf. We can do that later. I have the bracket. A dude sent me the billet bracket, but it puts it kind of in an odd spot, so I'll have to really look at that. If not, I have the cheapy do one that just bolts onto here that will give me the throw for that. The PCV stuff, it goes to this can over here, and it went before. I think this should make it around again. If it does, I think we'll just leave it alone because it's already there. I'll just put a better drain on the thing, and then I'm gonna have to get a belt. But stuff like that, I'm not gonna invent the wheel now. We're gonna save that for the last minute run around item stuff, because we have an engine to put together, and I need my heads off so I can actually put them on my actual motor. So they were just there to facilitate all this stuff, basically. So here is a look at essentially what she looks like. Although I'd really love to move this thing over to here, the PCV guy. I used to have exhaust there, and like there's a ton of room here versus clutter over there. So wants and needs. So let me decide if we're gonna move that thing or figure that out. But all in all, we're doing great. I've got a bunch of other items too. I've got the heat shield stuff. I've got regular heat shield guy. I have, I don't know where it was. I have a turbo blanket somewhere up here. So we've got lots of goodies. I have lots of like knick-knacky stuff, so when I'm assembling it, I'll have everything I need. I've got stainless zip ties for the heat wrap, T-bolt clamps. So I'm trying to cross my T's and dot my I's as I go, so maybe when I disassemble too, I'm not going to record, I'm just going to take time. And if I'm like, oh, I need to order this, I need to order that, and then I'm just going to order it as I go. So we assemble this thing. Hopefully we have everything we pretty much need. One that got me the other day that I didn't have were the fittings for this transcooler. These two guys. I have like a big giant box of junk, and I was like, man, 2 fittings. And it took me an afternoon to freaking go get 2 fittings. So I don't want to get in a predicament like that because the clock is ticking. We are really running it down. I hope you guys enjoyed. Go practice welding. Go get your race cars ready. I'm going to continue for the rest of the day. I'm not going to bring you guys along, but like I said, when we get to maybe engine assembly or something where I can kind of show you guys some stuff, I will. Other than that, I need to use as much time as I can to get this thing as far as possible, because we got Rocky Mountain Raceway 1.0, and I just want to have a good drive, man. I want this thing to do what it should do. I know at the track we're probably not going to be the fastest thing there. I feel like it should do decent, but mainly I want to do the drive, make some friends, go to the hotel like after party things and dinner and talk to all the people that are in the event, and not be the guy this go around that's struggling on the lift every day, on the side of the road every day, overheating, all that stuff. We're really trying to avoid that. So hopefully all the stuff that we did gets us to the finish line. You guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Until next time, I'm out.